Nowadays, there's a wonderful thing that every type of modern media uses, something that enables us consumers to share our thoughts and tastes with a bunch of random people all over the world. A simple tool that lacks all sorts of finesse, yet still easily managed to ingrain its workings deep into the human brain. A system that can make you respect, like, hate, think less of, or outright despise the person next to you. An easy way to tell everyone who didn't ask what you like or dislike. The one scale that makes everyone gladly show off their own weight online. Numbers in its most evil form. You know what I'm talking about. Rating systems. It doesn't matter if it's on social media, in friend groups, or through a neatly taken care of MyAnimeList account. We love to rate things.
Oh my god!
And we love to show people what and how we rated it. Like a toddler who's proud of showing mommy the very first big dump taken outside the diaper. And as flawed as those rating systems may be, there are still great tools for finding out where similar or different tastes lie, how wrong other people's opinions truly are, and for some even a great way to learn how to count to 10. Speaking of 10, the 10 out of 10 scale works perfectly to get into all kind of different fandom wars, because the sight of any number lower than 8 in combination with the favorite anime usually triggers a malfunction in the common weeb's brain. The reason why the system is heavily flawed is us. We created a rating system that doesn't leave much room for nuances, because let's be honest, everything below a 7 out of 10 is considered trash and everything below a 5 out of 10 is unwatchable garbage. By design, a mid anime should be a 5 out of 10, but we effectively got rid of the system for the biggest part and most use the numbers from 6 to 10. And the only people that use lower numbers are the remaining ones that are still serious about the scale or have a personal agenda against some titles. But there's one thing when it comes to these ratings that we all still agree with, and that is that a 10 out of 10 still is the real deal. It is the one rating no show can receive on average, a number you think twice about before picking, because it's something special and you want to have it feel special. The easiest way to go with this would be by just evaluating the personal enjoyment you had with a show, and that's a totally legitimate way of rating it. But sometimes, even though you enjoyed the hell out of something, you're fully aware of the fact that it's either not that good, or that even if it is that good, it still doesn't feel right to put it on the same level as some other shows. That's because there exists a fundamental problem with this rating system, and that is the inability to rate a show fairly when you have to take into account other genres. Let me quickly explain what I mean by that. For example, I'm a massive sucker for shows that are similar to something like Domestic Girlfriend. And in my opinion, this show is a 10 out of 10 drama soap opera type of anime because it represents and delivers exactly what it promises and gives me what I want. The rating I've given this one is an 8 out of 10, and even that was a hard decision. But why putting it there even though I love it so much? It's because of the existence of high-class anime like, let's say, Fullmetal Alchemist. It just doesn't feel right to put both on the same level here. It's the inner conflict of comparing two shows with each other that couldn't be more different. It feels that by default, genres like slice of life, romance, ecchi, or a combination of these have it way harder to receive a high score on average, even when they manage to excel in their own genre. Because we compare them to other shows they shouldn't be compared to. Say, if you'd happen to find the perfect adult video online, would you give it a 10 out of 10 if you'd had to directly put it against Lord of the Rings, even though you accomplished the greatest nut of your entire life? Let me know your answer in the comments. Long story short, two in their core completely different shows can both be a masterpiece inside their respective genres, but once comparing them, one will always receive the short end of the stick. Which leads to an, in my opinion, interesting topic that is fun discussing once you get even so slightly below surface level. What does an anime even need to receive a 10 out of 10? The easy answer is only one person that really enjoys it and doesn't care about comparing, because even the weirdest show gets at least one 10 out of 10 from a diehard fan. Even better if it is able to deliver what it promises. Of course, it's a very individual question and will always be, but what about shows a large amount of people considers a 10? What do they have that makes them popular outliers? The fact that some shows are able to stay in top places even after they are long finished means that they offer something that speaks to the masses. Music, visuals, voice performance, etc. are all important to round up your experience, but there are mainly three big things that all the top anime have in common. Interesting characters, emotional build-up, and progress. Interesting characters should be self-explanatory, but writing them is a completely different topic. Creating compelling main and side characters is not easy, and to write them in a way that everyone enjoys the personality are tasks that's simply impossible. For a potential 10 out of 10 show, characters gotta be more than your standard self-insert. They need some depth aside from being a walking trope or a blank piece of paper, and have to make the viewer cheer them on, care for, or absolutely hate them. The latter because of their actions and design, and not because of obnoxiousness. These characters work as the foundation for whatever happens in the story, because no emotional build-up would result in a hard-hitting scene if you as the viewer couldn't care less about them. Be it a sad, hype, comedic or epic moment, they all need build-up, because that's just how our brain works. Let's take a normal 12 episode anime season, and let's say all of these 12 episodes were a 10 out of 10. It just wouldn't work out. It might work for the first 3 or 4 episodes, but after that it would automatically rank itself down from a masterpiece to a constantly good show. Why is that? Because we want to feel rewarded. We want to feel rewarded at work, we want to feel rewarded after cooking a dish, and we also want to feel rewarded for the time we've invested in watching a show or movie. That's why it is essential for a 10 out of 10 anime, or any type of media really, to take it slower at times, but without hitting the brakes too hard. Sensory overload doesn't make a masterpiece, but so doesn't a resident sleeper. Finding the right balance is hard, but if done right, the slower parts of a show will get their praise retroactively once the viewer got to live through the whole experience. Because progressing through a story always has some ups and downs, but depending on what the stakes, the character goals or the overarching theme of the show are, these fluctuations are sometimes more and sometimes less noticeable. Progress is important, yes, but out of the 3 main points, it is also the one with the most freedom, because let's be real, you're probably more inclined to overlook a mainly comedy-themed show's slow pacing than you would if it were a heavily story-driven fantasy adventure. But that doesn't make it less important, just more lenient towards some specific genres. These are the points you can see pretty much all high-rated anime excel in at least 2 of them. And in combination with the other things I mentioned before, these shows are able to deliver a complete package of entertainment that may not speak to everyone, but to the masses. And when it comes to music, visuals, voice acting and animation, here's where preferences deviate even further. Especially when it comes to visuals, there are a bunch of great anime that lose out on viewers and higher ratings just because they look a certain way. Which is not a bad thing, but it shows again that different fans of the media value different things. In the end, all rating systems exist for us to put a number on a thing we did or didn't like. We can use them for discussion, for shit-talking, for justifying our projected self-worth, or to feel more individual. And even though they seem flawed and unfair, it is still fun to use them. And after all that, the only thing left to say is the perfect anime will never be able to exist. At least not on paper. Disagreement and different opinions will always continue to prevent something from reaching a perfect score, and that is completely fine. That is, if people would stop being a little bitch about it all the time. But that's maybe a topic for a different video. For now, I just want to hear your thoughts. What does an anime in your opinion need to become a 10 out of 10? And what should receive that rating from you? Let me know down in the comments. Also consider giving this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of my stuff in the future, hit this ominous bell if you're really feeling it, and thank you for joining me on this little discourse. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, peace.